Step aboard Motor Yacht Unbridled, where elegance meets the open sea. Dive into a world of refined adventure, tailored experiences, and 5-star service. From sun-soaked decks to moonlit dinners, every moment on Unbridled is designed to indulge your senses, whether it's an intimate escape or a celebration of a lifetime. Unbridled, where the extraordinary is standard.
Hey folks, it's Captain Liam Motor Yacht Unbridled. We have Sean McCarthy from Catalina Crew.
What's going on?
So that's the camera there, Sean.
The light's a little bright, but I will take these off.
Okay, welcome to adjust the light. Welcome to Motor Yacht Unbridled. Motor Yacht Unbridled is a 191-foot Trinity, built in the United States, so we're proud of that. The owner's wonderful. We're available for charter, and like we just spoke about a story, Sean's a captain as well, so he kind of understands, some of the journeys I've gone through, and that's why he's on board as well. We just came from Costa Rica, 2,500 miles. Then we did a 10-day show, 2,500 miles, 8 days. Then a 5-day Newport boat show, NBIBS, and that's where we connected.
That is where we connected.
And your energy got me through it, I think. We needed you. We needed you, buddy.
Yeah, you gotta stay pumped up, stay positive. But and you guys, what was the actual term you used? Skullduging? You guys dragged the tender 4,000 miles?
Yeah, that's the crew terminology, skull dragging.
You
catch a fish and you keep it on the surface and you just take it. So our 42 HCB was skull drag from Golfito, and I think, thank God, we're shipping it now we're shipping it to Port Angeles, Seattle, and then we go to Juneau, Alaska.
How long can you be in Juneau, Alaska for?
All summer. We got charters. We got 4 charters booked now. We got another month, about 3 more weeks available before you're starting to get into the early and late charters, which is still good, but a little bit cold. The early and late months. So.
Honestly, before, because we have a YouTube where we tour, the bigger boats around the world, down to Monaco, West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale. I never even thought about the aspect of chartering in Alaska.
Yeah.
And then once the guys in Serengeti told me what they do, I was like, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, Captain Zach, he's world class. And
yeah,
he's big into spearfishing up there. So
he's ready to go.
Yeah, he hung a halibut up there, big halibut on the back of the boat.
Oh, I saw that.
That's like the boss caught. It's the biggest halibut the family's caught. But Unbridled's going up there. We're not going to mess around. We're going for something bigger, I always say I'm not competitive, and I just want to be in the conversation.
I like that. That's good ideology.
But tell me about Catalina Crew, though. What's the story? What sparked your idea? One of the questions I had. What sparked Catalina Crew's idea? What's Sean's story here?
I guess we'll get into it. I went to college in Boston. I grew up in New England with a family that was marine-oriented. We had a boat in Watch Hill, Rhode Island. My parents actually met.
Where was it?
Watch Hill, Rhode Island.
Watch Hill, okay.
Yeah, Long Island Sound.
All right.
We had a Bristol, called the Irish King. And then we also had a lake boat in my hometown, which is Celtic, Massachusetts. So we had both sides, lake life and ocean life.
Yeah.
So my parents met at Martha's Vineyard. Back home, there's a thing called Vineyard Vines, which is like a brand.
The clothing brand.
Yeah, clothing brand.
Big brand.
So I got the idea. I was like, why doesn't Catalina have its own clothing brand? And I'd never been to LA. I'd never been to California. So I packed up my car, my dog, with the idea for Catalina Crew, and had nowhere to live. Had a 14-foot Zuma sailboat behind me I used as a trailer, and I came to LA.
Wouldn't stop with the sailboat?
Yeah.
Where's the sailboat now?
I actually was kind of cool. My dad was able to sail it in the Cape and also in the Pacific.
Cool.
So I was pretty stoked on that. But so I got to LA, and this is how greenhorn I was about the whole boating community in California. I was like, I get to a yacht club because they need a place to park the boat. And I go, what do you guys do to winterize the boats? Like, where do you haul them out? And they're like, they never come out of the water. I'm like, what? I was like, you don't come out of the water. Yeah. We're dedicated back east.
They're committed. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
it's a process.
Long story short is my dad had been going through some health issues. He had juvenile diabetes, and he had 2 transplants, kidney and a pancreas.
Yeah.
So I got him a boat as somewhere to hang out so he could come and like rehab and chill and be around the water, which is what he loved the most. And I could not find in Marina Del Rey one mechanic who would show up or know the job or do the job. Yeah. So I did it. I got to come along, a 4x4, pulled the motor, put a new tranny in it.
Cool.
And I looked around, I go, there's 6,000 boats. Yeah. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So I put up a Craigslist ad, hired an old timer, Jaybird, who's like lost more knowledge than most have gained. And within 4 months, we were running ED Pershing.
Cool. What year was this? Well, take us back. What
2016.
So not long ago, 2016, 9 years.
So
Wow.
fast forward now, I'll do salvages, survey, captaining, management, repair.
Yeah.
My mom actually moved out here 3 years ago, runs the biggest marina in Marina Del Rey.
Yeah.
So it's been cool.
So the family's migrated forward.
Yeah, we want to Oregon Trail. No, actually, my dad passed away in 2019. But he was more stoked about me getting my captain's license than my college degree.
Okay.
He's like, my boy's gonna be a captain.
Yeah.
He was like loving that aspect. So, and it's just like I saw these different opportunities, and what I always like, that's my thing I say is if you apply like work ethic from the East Coast with the opportunity of the West Coast, there's so much that you can do.
Yeah.
Out here, it's like the things I do, I couldn't do back in Boston.
Because there's more, you think there's more opportunities, more entrepreneurial spirit.
It's just, there's just so much, it's
That's
more
excellent.
progressive mentally, you know, more progressive, and there's a lot of money here, but it's like the old ways back home. And within 1 square mile, there's 50 amazing mechanics where we were, where our boat was.
Yeah,
He and I just couldn't find it. We're in the biggest marine in the U.S., man-made, second biggest in the world. And I'm like begging people to come help me.
Check it out.
And now I'm like, whatever, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how like all this stuff progressed. And this thing started as an idea for a brand. And then I shifted into the boat stuff because it made me money and I had to live.
Yeah.
And now we're going back because the brand has an identity based on all the stuff we do.
So when you realize, because that's one of the questions, you know, what's the identity? How did you realize you had an identity? And we had a chat.
I didn't have an identity. I had an idea.
Had an idea.
I had an idea.
And then when you realized it was a brand, or the brand had an identity.
It's evolved, you know? And I always wanted to like
after 2-3 years or just recently?
No, it's always been a love and hate relationship, trying to figure out where we're gonna go, like with the brand aspect. But as I get older and you know, more secure in what I do and things, I kind of have a path. And then people like Lofty, I can involve them in. Like this gentleman, you know, was one of the founders of Freestyle Motocross, has been a huge marketer.
Yeah.
And to have these people on board that see like we're kind of building a vision together. You know?
Exactly.
And you're the captain. You can't run this boat alone. No. But you're there to right the ship and be everyone's, you know, everyone confides in you or whatnot.
Yeah.
You're the one to make the final decision.
Yeah. Well, I'll get the final blame. There's two.
And then you got to take the heat.
So I always tell, there's a couple of things that tell people is if you don't shoot, you don't score. So you got to understand you got to miss.
Yeah. So
you got to have a go at things in life, people. And if it goes wrong, then we learn from it. You know, if it goes horribly wrong, then I have to deal with it. And we grow from it. But it's tough. A captain's job is not an easy one because at the end of the day, you're responsible for decisions other people make, good or bad. Yeah. And you can't control that. What you have to try and do is narrate the story. This is the vision, people. Like, let's go. This is the path we want to be on. This is the ideology, like as owner of a company, you know?
Yeah.
We work with a great owner who owns, you know, Unbridled. We work with a great brokerage firm, Northrop & Johnson. Unbridled's got an identity now, and it had a good reputation, but we're trying to push into the charter market. Yeah, and that's why I'm reaching out to you and having these chats, because when I saw you were straight down the docks, Catalina Crew, welcome aboard. And I was like, cool, this is what I like. I like people proud of the companies they run, proud of the companies they ownership.
Well, we never done a yacht show in a booth like we did, and honestly,
I thought you were like.
So we put it all together. You know, we had floating yachts. We had the electric jet boards, the Awake. We had the C-Necks. We had all these. We had the Yacht Beach docks, and we had the official shirt, which
Ronald represent, man.
Renard, who runs the show, was rocking the hoodie yesterday.
No,
it was like, yeah.
Really? The actual who runs in Bernard.
Yeah, he was rocking the hoodie. That's
wow.
Yeah, I put him on it's on our Instagram story.
That's big.
But so to see how much fun people had in the booth, you know, that was very fulfilling. It was a lot of stress. Yeah. But we had a lot of cool people, and everyone was having a blast.
Yeah. So you've got a partnership with Awake board. So for those who don't know, Catalina is an island off California.
It's like going to Monaco off the coast of California. Same topography, geography, same sort of water.
Without the yachts.
The mega yachts. But I remember when I named my company Catalina Crew, I'd never even gone there before. Yeah. And then I remember sailing up on the sailboat the first time, and we had Catalina Crew t-shirts in 30-foot Ross in 1960. We re-stepped it with a Catalina tall rig mast. We just threw the mast on and like, not a Catalina. Cool. And we had it out to me, my dog, and my girlfriend at the time. And I remember coming up in the island, and I was like, this place is freaking unreal. Yeah. I was like,
put it on, call it Mexico.
It worked out.
Because you see a lot of boats going, from Marina del Rey to Catalina.
Yeah. Oh, it's on the weekend. It's, from Newport or from Long Beach or San Pedro or, even San Diego.
Yeah.
Marina del Rey, Redondo.
Yeah.
But I remember on the way back, it took us 10 hours. And I remember calling my dad. I'm like, I'll never call this effing thing again. He's like, oh, son, that's what it's about. He's like, you'll be back in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks, you'll be back and live to tell the town. That's actually kind of like our tagline. Live to tell the town.
There's one of the questions someone has. Why is the story? Is it a fishing story? Or what?
No. It's just like perseverance and powering through. And then you can look back on stressful situations and you're like, yeah, I accomplished that or overcame it. Or, so you're living. So you can tell. Because honestly, I have the best times I have with people is when they tell me stories about things they've experienced.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's badass.
Yeah, true. That's kind of how I started this captain's chat. Is like, I realized 25 years on the ocean, I've seen so much, man. Like from the Pacific to the Arctic regions to Argentina. And I see all these kids and they're kind of making their stories. And I'm kind of getting to that age at 45. I wouldn't mind giving back. And give back by, inviting people like yourself onto a platform where you share your stories, or I can tell some of my stories to try to engage people. You know what I mean? I think that's the key. From a brand point of view, because that's what's big for Unbridled in the yachting industry. We're trying to create something different in yachting, kind of what you're creating as well here.
Well, so this is the thing, and this is like the platform to come on and talk about this. So me and Trevor, we work with Ross Smith at Northrop.
And he can do a swing. I might get upset by this. See you guys behind the scenes there.
So we work with Ralph Smith, and we're kind of like his go-to guy in the Southern California area for captaining or taking over a boat or managing it or, going through it. And he was invited me to Monaco last year. So, I was like, let's go to Monaco. But then because I'm always thinking about progressive, like, how can we do this bigger? How can we do it? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't want to just go to Monaco. So then I was like, well, me and him were talking. I'm like, maybe we'll apply for press passes because I got enough Instagram followers. Maybe they'll accept us. Then they did.
Wow.
And then we reached out to everyone on the yachts and we got tours lined up. And we really didn't know what we were going to do going into the tours. And then our first
because what are you selling?
No, because it was a different aspect of having a captain talk to the crew on these yachts.
Gotcha.
And not from a broker perspective, because I know the systems.
Yeah.
So we got to Cantori della Marche, and we got on that boat, and they were just so amazing. The tour went great, and
crew were good.
And then a crew was great. Captain Guy, I'm forgetting her name right now. All right, Captain Maria Roberta is the best ever. She's the one that runs all their social media and all their marketing, everything.
The Monaco show.
Then they invited us to Ancona to go to the shipyard. So we did that after we did a tour. It's on the Catalina Crew YouTube. So then we started going to all the shows and doing all these tours. And then we started getting traction. And it's at almost like 1 million heads. Wow. So that's kind of how we met you, because he had reached out to Gabby, I think her name is. And then we were lined up to talk to you. We just set up the booth, everything. We go to Serengeti. And then
cool. Yeah.
So trust me, a lot of caffeine. That's where that energy was.
Oh, likewise, mate. It's on my cup, and I try and do. They say I love tea, but tea's still got caffeine. And now I've got a beautiful engineer on board. I really respect him over a lot of years, and he's into his coffee. So between him, the chef, and me, we're just caffeinated for the first 3 hours of the day.
I can't drink. Some of that coffee is just too nuclear for me. I'm already like.
I'm going to show you stuff, this Cuban stuff, and I shouldn't say the word. It's like Coca-Cola, but it's Cuban coffee, and it's all on.
How'd you get that over here?
Exactly.
So
that's Monaco, but this is the yachting sector you're in. You're knocking on the doors of yachting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's pretty powerful stuff. The yachting's but it's different. Yachting's about luxury, and I'm just giving you the street trend. This is not what I believe.
People who are watching this videos aren't necessarily into the caviar dreams and whatnot. They want to see the systems. They want to know who runs the boat.
Yeah, true.
Sure. And then when I can build a relationship with somebody who's a captain or a crew, like we had one guy, we ended up calling him Lucky Luciano. Because he's from Italy, and he's like, I do not want to be in the video. And then after we say I'm a captain, he goes, oh, Capitano. And he's hugging me. And by the end, the broker's like, you got to leave. He's like, no, I make them pizza. He's giving us toffee, espresso. He's inviting me to his house. And then there was another boat we went on where the captain spoke no English, but I could communicate to him through the systems. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. The thrusters and whatnot. But they're in the bridge.
So what's this is a question from me, because a lot of people ask me this question over the years, and I've built a couple of yachts. What's your favorite boat? What's your ideal scenario?
Honestly, now that since we went to the Cantieri della Marche shipyard, and that's actually the boat that's on here, the rendering is a Cantieri della Marche boat. And
They're cut on it from the show though.
that is the show shirt, but we used the rendering from Cantieri della Marche. I think that's their Flex Explorer yacht, and we put it on the shirt.
Cool.
So, and they actually won an award at the Boat International awards that they just had. Was their boat was one of the ones.
Cool.
And shout out, the boat's called Lieutenant Pete Mitchell Maverick. And so we have a foundation. My little brother has
I saw that. I wanted to
he
speak
has,
to them.
he has Asperger's.
Yep.
So the owners,
What's Asperger's?
it's just it's on the spectrum of autism.
Yep.
So he's like, you know, social issues,
Yep.
anxieties and whatnot. He's a very good artist. He actually moved here with my mom too. He's an anime artist. He has like 10 different books that he's produced. He goes to all the Comic Cons and stuff. His name's Ryan McCarthy.
Cool.
Ryan
Hey,
McCarthy
Ryan.
is his Instagram. But so the owner's wife, or the owner of the boat, Maverick, there's one of their children has Down syndrome.
Yeah.
So we kind of connected over talking about that. And that's why kind of like we started the foundation. My sister is one of the head social workers at Boston Children's Hospital. She does a podcast with one of the girls from Full House called Awkward Conversations. Full House is a TV show that was in So
awkward conversation.
yeah,
Let's check
it's
that
about,
out.
and then my mom, she had daycare for 22 years before she ran the marina. So we bring like neurodivergent kids out on the water. We're trying to expand that. Like this year, I have season tickets for the Chargers, like the football team, and I'm giving 4.
San Diego.
Now they're in LA.
Oh, I didn't know
In
that.
LA. They play at SoFi Stadium.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're the underdog. So I root for the underdog.
Yeah,
But
why not, man?
we're gonna get 4 tickets, 2 pairs each to family members, like
Yeah.
so they can go to games and experience it.
Yeah.
So I think that'll
Well, I think I watched that movie the other, or the series anyway, Love Inspection and all that. And I think the world's in a pretty beautiful place in terms of the access people have to information now.
Yeah.
With AI, you know, we're in a whole generation of information availability, which is great. And that's why kind of companies like yours, companies like Unbridled, you really got to be on the forefront of this digital marketing, correct?
Yeah, we're still trying to figure it out. I get an email probably every 30 seconds about somebody who's trying to pitch me on how they can SEO this, and
Yeah, so what
Calm
do you do
down.
with those? I started.
we just figure it all out by ourselves.
That's the best way, man.
Eventually, it's just like
Be
anything.
patient. Yeah,
I don't
be
hear anyone
patient.
cry about how it can't be done. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. That's why I have this saying on the boat: don't involve me. Just please don't involve me, because I love a challenge.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, if it's a product for I'll get it. Won't be pretty, but I will get the result, because I enjoy the journey to the result.
Yeah.
So a lot of times with the crew, they're going to do that thing. But I can see something's going up, like, need a hand, and they're like, no, okay, we got this. And I'm like, come on, let me help, you know?
See, and those are things like, you know, when you like go to college, you think like I wanted to be an attorney because I thought that's the road you're supposed to take. But as
a family or
no, just because I thought I'd be a wait. I want to be a sports agent actually. So I thought it would be like a waiting, you know, succeed in life or whatever.
yeah.
But growing up, we had a restaurant, and my dad, I was like his little sidekick. So all these little tinkering jobs and working on cars or snowmobiles and whatnot, all that stuff paid off.
Yeah.
You know?
But I was looking at 2 people recently, and someone just got married, got to get their, captain's licenses, and bought a house, right? And I was like, that's a success story. And in the same kind of day, I was speaking to someone who just got divorced, sold the house, got a motorbike, and they're just as happy. And I'm like, so what is success then?
Yeah.
Like both stories, the person's happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can't really justify it. I don't know, for me, so back to the boat, you'd go the 50 meter or the 55 meter.
No, I think the Flex Explorer, it's 146 to 55.
Yeah, it's not hard.
Somewhere around those. I always get my conversion rate.
I mean, it's a
off.
rowboat or one of these Duffy's in here, isn't it? The Duffy.
Duffy. Oh, we're the official.
Duffy.
Shout out Duffy. We're the official service provider for Duffy for all your needs. And we're
Really? And we're in Del Rey.
now
You crack into Newport Beach, or it's a tough neighborhood, isn't it?
there's so much. We have 6,000 boats. Like,
6,000
I need more
Duffys.
men. No. They've made 23,000 or 26,000 Duffys total since the 70s. There's 3,000, I believe, in Newport Beach right now. We have like 150 around.
Wow.
We're trying to get more of them. Duffy is the best boat to cruise around the harbor for sure.
Yeah, sure.
Like
I seen the 2 service boats around this morning to get them away, but it doesn't work out the bow.
They go 7 hours on one charge. You're only going 5 knots or whatever, but like wine and cheese, family. very minimal maintenance.
Yeah.
It's not like your dad in the rib trying to pull the motor.
What's the batteries then?
The batteries either lead acid, lithium ion,
Yeah.
depending on which one you have.
Which
Like
one?
I have so that's another opportunity. I bought a Duffy to do rentals and to do some other things with it. I called Duffy. I'm like, can I get your Duffy service? And Rudy Dar, they're like, no, we don't do that. So we're like, all right, well, we'll be your service provider.
Yeah.
So that's how I came about.
So you're just going to be available and willing to push the boundaries. That's success. If you want to move forward.
Just keep, like you said, I get nervous and insecure sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
Yeah, it's a big one. I mean, right now for me, like I don't do social media, and people say, "You know enough now."
Here's the intro you had for us is really good.
Was it?
Things like these white balls, electric, they're great.
No, I can good accent.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but traditionally, no. It's only from Motor Yacht Unbridled, where the challenge is to build a charter program, and I work with Northrop.
You know how you do a charter program? I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
Me and him have talked about this. Is getting someone like as our channel grows and stuff, like getting someone on there for a day. That's like we're completely arbitrary to the situation and film what a charter day looks like. Do you know what I mean? Then somebody could see
like but lifestyle.
Yeah, what the experience is like. Instead of
So you sell the story a little bit more.
Sell the story to see what's going on, because obviously people who charter the boat don't want to be filmed.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
we're talking about the challenges. Like a lot of people say, "How are you so comfortable on camera?" To me, I'm like, "Well, I've dealt with high net worth individuals my whole career, so I have to present to them different options and anchorages, and listen to the good and listen to the bad and the challenges." So I look at like a camera as I'm telling a story to someone. Like, unfortunately, I don't spend as much time as I'd like with my kids and my wife, so I have to go and navigate that journey as a captain.
Yeah, and how long? So when you're on the boat, how many months out and how many months off?
It's not real rotation. It's not full rotation, and there's positives of that. It means the client, the broker, the owners, the crew have a stable direction. The negative is I don't spend as much time as I'd like with my family, but they do travel. We're currently in Montreal, Canada. They survived the first winter, which was tough because we're from Dominican Republic. My wife and kids are from Dominican. We lived there 15 years. But every 2 months for about a week or two, I go home, or if there's important dates to go home. Yeah. So now I'm going, when I get to Port Angeles, the boat will do a survey and I'll probably go home for a week. So I'm pumped to go north, especially after the last 2 months.
Montreal?
Kids education, basically from Dominican Republic, and they've had 15 great years there. And we kind of look to expand the horizons a little bit for our children. And I want to teach the kids life's not easy. Life isn't fair. It is fun.
It's not all TikTok and rainbows.
It's not all TikTok and rainbows. There's challenges. I want to be at sea every day. I want to be with the kids, but I have to make sacrifices.
Yeah.
So Montreal is in Quebec, and they speak French.
Yeah.
Children's first language is Spanish. Obviously, they speak English great. So the third language of French on top of that, with a French education and leaving high school and going into a university there, I think that will give them a lot of different opportunities globally, because they have full passports. They've got Australia, Ireland, Canada, Dominican already. Nice. And my son's mind's kind of quite broad in terms of his cultural understanding. He kind of wants to study in Germany. So I'm like, all right, let's get you a couple of years in Canada, good education, and they have great universities like Boston.
Well, yeah, they have McGill.
They have McGill.
I know McGill. I know friends who went to McGill. Yeah.
They did a life up there. Canadians, it's a good life up there. So, but my son and I take the train into Boston quite a bit.
Boston, honestly, that was a place where it was like one of the best experiences to actually grow up as an adult from 18 to, like 28. I was in the area. Yeah, because we have most universities in the world are confined to there. So it's all same age, but we're all from different ideologies and different countries.
Different universities.
So you really get a melting pot and you get along with people, and you learn that where you're from isn't the whole center of the world.
Exactly. That's probably if you want to hit it on the head, that's probably exactly why we're moving to Canada. Is because I love Australia. I'm from the East Coast in a little town called Byron Bay, which is a surf town.
Yeah. I'm down for that.
Yeah, it's a cool little town. But I travel the whole world thinking I'm going to find something like Byron. You know what I mean? I found a place. Pavones, Costa Rica. If you ever get a chance to get down, we go down there in the summer.
Write it down on the Google machine.
Yeah, maybe it's the second longest left-hand wave in the world, and I reckon you'd love it down there. It's just full of good energy, chilled, still dirt roads, still an airport, international airport, 6 hours drive away. It's just the middle of nowhere in the south coast of Costa Rica in the jungles. And I'm like, I think I've found a place. And then my wife said, every time I travel to these places, they're like, no, there we go again. We've found a place, they're like yoga studio, a little, bit of solar panels, bit of water.
I like that.
What's next? I usually go only for 15 minutes, but we've already gone for it because I'm loving it.
Wait, so the whole interview is only 15 minutes?
Usually the live feed 15 minutes.
Well, when he comes on our podcast, we do a solid 5 hours.
Solid fucking
Take you Rogan on with the solid 5 minutes.
Cool. We can do a harbor cruise, Lou? Or
No, I would love to. So
I'll come to Marina Del Rey.
yeah, Marina Del Rey would be cool. We're gonna take my speedboat out to Catalina next weekend, maybe.
Cool.
There's a lot.
I see you out there.
Well, we
going.
We can do the yacht cast. We would cruise the 100-foot yacht around Marina Del Rey.
Nice.
Put up the neon sign.
We'll have to get some fuel there. I think we get fuel in Marina Del Rey, correct?
No, you get it in San Pedro, Yankovic.
Okay.
That's the one. That's the cheaper one. Marina Del Rey is a little cost.
More cost effective.
Yeah, actually, so segueing into that, so we're trying to move into some of the political ideologies of where we're from. We have 6,000 boats. Marina Del Rey was founded 60 years ago as a small craft harbor, but it's like a misnomer because how do you have 6,000 boats, but it's small craft?
Yeah.
And like the boat we're sitting on now, what would be nice we have the World Cup, the Super Bowl, and the Olympics coming.
Yeah.
3 world-class events that are back to back to back.
When's Super Bowl next year?
Super Bowl is 2027, World Cup's 2026, and it all culminates with the Olympics.
Yeah,
we got that idea again in Monaco. A lot of the yacht owners we want to be there for the Olympics. Can you guys accommodate that? And as of right now, the only dock we have is the one dock. It's the fuel dock.
It's fuel dock.
And
200-foot long.
What I do in boats, like I said, with salvages, we'll also get rid of abandoned boats. So what we're doing in Marina Del Rey and other harbors in California, I'm sure around the world, is pricing out these 30-foot sailboats. People can't afford the slip for $1,200 a month for a boat that's worth $500.
Yeah, exactly.
So we crush them and get, and recycle them and whatnot. So Cecile from Boat International Magazine, we did an interview with her, and that one's about to come out on our podcast. There's a boat. She's a great lady. I love her. But so through connections, we were on this boat Northwind that we brought up from San Diego. It's a 130-footer from 1930. Cool. Winston Churchill was on it. That Queen. It was supposedly in the Battle of Dunkirk. It was the first boat on scene at the Exxon Valdez. Jackie Kennedy met Aristotle Onassis on this boat. What's the name of it? It's called Northwind. So it's now become the California Yacht Club temporary yacht because their club burned down. Yeah. And the owner was nice enough to donate it to the club so they could use it. He's a great guy. Yeah. Shout out to him. I don't want to mention his name. But so point of the story is
we need to get more large yacht slips.
Well, think about this. So if you line up 15 slips at 30 foot, and you're getting it from 15 different people, you're collecting money from 15 different people for each individual slip. When you can make that one big slip for a big yacht, and you're making that whole 15 slips in one day, not boat renting it, you're getting it for one person. Yeah. And it's also the optics. People love to see boats like this. We got Balboa Bay Club right here, and that place is always packed. Yeah. When you have a place like that, we're Hollywood's harbor. We're right there.
Yeah, also nothing with big yachts too. They're used, believe it or not. We move quick.
Yeah. Boats in and out, especially if you want to go to Alaska. Sometimes down to Coronado, it's kind of militarized in that area. In Newport, it's very hard, almost impossible to get a slip. Yeah. So being an intermediary in the West Coast, I think it would be beneficial.
I think they should do the same thing. Yeah, I'm shocked. They're putting in these permanent slips here, and we go from there.
Yeah, just some permanent slips.
What's the future? We're going to wrap it up soon. What's the future?
What is the future? Who's the
Catalina Crew? We got the crest.
And just living. Just living.
Just roll with it.
Go with it.
Roll with it.
The opportunities that Catalina Crew has afforded me, and the
Awake Boards is a big one.
Awake is cool. I love Awake.
Yes.
Michael, he was the temporary CEO that I started talking to in Monaco to do. He's been on our podcast. And now they have a new guy in charge. Tice. We're working with him. He's a great guy. But just like these opportunities, we're going to build the brand. I think we got a really good opportunity to get this out to the masses in a positive way. Yeah. And my whole vibe, man, it's not every day am I happy and all joy and boyous and whatever. But those are the days you learn from. And I remember going to Malibu one time. We did this volunteer thing for the kids on the beach, and we bring up my speedboat, and and they tube and wakeboard, and it was a glass day on the way back. And I was just like, these are the days, man. It's about sun shining. All those hard days we're getting the shit beat out of you.
Yeah.
And
Well, like, even with this Captain Liam account and all that, for me, I'm loving the journey. And some days I say some tough things, and I'm like, oh, it was a tough day. It wasn't much fun. Salt the face, red eyes, tired. As a captain, you get mentally, physically beaten in a normal day.
Exactly.
You know, at the end of the day, you're like, oh, how am I going to stay positive? And then you have those sunsets in Newport, you're just like glowing.
Or you have your family, when your family comes to visit, like
Yeah.
my mom out here, and then my sister's come, she just had a baby, and being able to hopefully with this make them happy and financially stable eventually,
Yeah.
they don't have to worry about things
Yeah.
except for being happy. You know, that's
Cool, man. So your whole family's out here. Your brother's out here.
My sister's still outside of Boston with her husband,
Okay.
but I am
And home for you is Marina Del Rey.
home is Marina Del Rey.
Cool, man. Cool.
Started in Playa Del Rey and then moved to Marina Del Rey.
All right. Well,
So we went 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, you got another brother in the ocean, another captain, man.
Oh, hey, we're gonna be kicking him.
If you need anything, you let me know. We're coming back here every year. Probably, every winter time we come back here September 8th. So, and then we head down south to Costa Rica. I'm
So
loving
you guys stay in Costa Rica, just chilling there?
No. We go up north. So charter program's pretty busy. We go to Alaska for the summer, and then you turn around, come back down, fuel fix, go back down to Costa Rica. And Costa Rica's got Cocos Islands, Galapagos, Panama, Belize, that's Central South America.
Galapagos must be amazing.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to be chartering down there. So to wrap it up, how can people reach it?
CatalinaCrew.com.
Down the bottom as well.
Instagram is Catalina Crew. YouTube is the Catalina Crew. We were talking TikTok. I'm not a big TikToker, but we have an account, and it's got a little bit of a following. It's Catalina Crew. And
Cool.
just keep blasting out the Catalina Crew.
And you should, correct me if I'm wrong, when you get to 100,000
free yacht
subscribers,
cruise. Yeah, we just threw that there. We get 100,000 yachts. Like, I'm all about nothing. I don't go into anything thinking I'm going to get something monetarily.
Yeah.
That's one way you got to think of. Like, how can I get money out of this? That's how I build the best organic relationships.
Yeah.
And so, we want to give yacht cruises away to the kids. We're going to sponsor a Sea Scout week out in the camp.
Cool.
Things like that. But when we get 100,000 subs on YouTube, we're going to give away a free yacht cruise.
Cool. So follow, subscribe, like. Kids down today, right? All right, man. Respect. Be safe. Be blessed, and stay safe.
Peace and love.